Okay, time for another video. This video is actually just going to be a really quick run through. So the last video I think that I did on tech, any like mobile device, was regarding the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra and the things that were included with that. So anyway, with that in mind, just a couple of weeks ago, Heidi and I wound up getting the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras. And one of the challenges that I think that we have when we buy flagship devices, and you'll probably experience this as well, when you buy them, getting accessories that are good quality, like fit perfect, fit right accessories at day of launch for these devices is actually pretty hard because in most cases it is pretty hard because they just haven't they haven't gotten to the manufacturers that make cases, screen protectors, things to that nature. Those are the major ones, cases and screen protectors. They just haven't gotten to the manufacturer to a degree where they finished their models for it and then started mass sale. That's not always the case, but I found that to be true for the last almost everything that I've bought. The screen protector for the Tab S8 Ultra was available, I think, day one. The case that I was looking for, however, was available something like week 4 after launch. So a little bit of a challenge there. That said, we got the S23s. I'm just going to call them S23s. They're the Ultras, the S23 Ultras. We got those on pre-order, and so they arrived a couple of days actually before general launch. We actually still received them before pre-order or before the pre-order window had closed, which was great. But again, you run up against that challenge where, hey, I don't have accessories to take care of this device. And so we also selected to, in the various bundles, she actually got the warranty package or something. Samsung generally offers you credit towards purchases. I think I got $150 worth of stuff. So I got a black leather case, which is kind of awful. It just feels like cardboard with some fake leather wrapped around it. I'm sure it's actual leather, but it's not great. I got a silicone case, and then I got the fast dual wireless charger or something like that. I didn't have a warranty option. I didn't have the ability to roll the credit into a warranty. I'm not sure how that worked. So anyway, that said, so I received the device. I put on the leather case. I tossed the silicone to Heidi. In the interim, while we were waiting for the cases that we wanted to be our forever cases, if you will. And I have historically bought the same case for the last several devices. I think from the S10 Plus, I then went from the S10 Plus to the Note 20 Ultra. I then forayed a little bit into the Z Fold 3, and then from there, but essentially for the flat devices, for the S10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, and even the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because I stepped away from Android and Samsung for a little bit there. And all of them I've used the same family of case, being the Ghost Tech, whatever their Ghost Tech one is, that's an aluminum frame around it, clear polycarbonate back, and then a TPU interior. So there's a couple of different layers there, and the TPU being the protection layer for buffering the device. So anyway, bought the same family of cases. They're not readily available, so I have to wait a little while for them to come out, and then they eventually do, and it works out great. So I've actually got my S23 Ultra here. That is what the case looks like on it. That is the Ghost Tech case. Cool, whatever. Aluminum frame, TPU, clear back. Excuse me. The screen protectors, I don't remember who we got them from, but the screen protectors are actually kind of not amazing, but they're doing an okay job. They're the wet application film screen protectors, but I can tell that they were cut for, I think, the S21. Yeah, the S21, S22s. And so they are not perfect fit. I think they're cut for the S22s. And so they were bought for the S23, but I'm almost positive the manufacturer just reused them. And you would think, okay, it's the exact same display. I think something is different because they do not fit perfectly on the S23s, but they do on the, I want to say it's an S22 that we've got in the house, whatever. Fine, we got a screen protector on there. I've got my case. What is the whole point of this video now that I'm, 5 minutes in? And that is to talk about the most ridiculous case that I have seen on a cell phone that was not an Apple device, that didn't have like gold or jewels or like virgin baby leather or something on it. And that is the carved case. This is not like me bashing on the case. I, first and foremost, would never personally buy the case. Would never, ever happen. Heidi did, however, and there was an ask to talk about it. I'm not going to say this is a review or anything else. This is just sort of my impressions of the case itself. So, where did this happen? We've already talked about devices, or accessories for the devices are not readily available day one. So you have to usually sit and wait for whatever it is that you're wanting. There's lots of really neat novelty stuff. Most of it's coming out of like Chinese market, and it turns out to be just garbage. So I've consistently bought from the same manufacturers. When Heidi talked about that she was going to buy this case, she's like, "Oh, take a look at these." I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I saw the price, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I was like, "No way! Like, no, in no universe is that something that I would do." She did it, so I get to live vicariously through her in regards to that case. I don't envy her. I'm very, very happy with my case. I worry for her, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But without further ado, 7 minutes in, let's talk about the case. What is it? Heidi ordered the carved live edge case. It comes in a box that is, their label is, 1 of 1, because when you buy the case, it like when you're looking at their website, you see all these different cases and they have names. I want to say that she had a it was like a Greek name, like it was like a Greek goddess name or something like that. I want to say that was it, something along those lines. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. She showed it to me, and again, I saw the price. I was like, no way. But every single case apparently is unique. They make that case. It looks like that. You buy it from the website, and once you hit checkout and put in your payment information, you've bought that case. No one else can buy that case. There aren't anymore. That there's just one of them, 1 of 1, exactly the way they describe it. Taking a look at the back, it looks like it says it was made in Indiana. Carved.com is where you could go get it. CARVED.com. This is the live edge case. The live edge ones, from what I saw on their website, were the more expensive ones. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. But looking at the description on the back of it, it says machined aluminum buttons, and the buttons do feel really great. MagSafe compatible, and it is. We'll show that here in a second. It is MagSafe compatible, despite the fact that it is a Samsung device. We popped it on a Samsung wireless charger, which is the Qi charging, and it works fine, despite the fact that there is a magnet in the case. We popped it on a MagSafe charger, and it works fine because the MagSafe magnet's in there, which usually has caused interruption issues for me on other Qi chargers, which, by the way, MagSafe is Qi, but there's that magnetic ring that causes issues. Live edge surround, hand finished. So that's the description on the box. It's actually a really cool box. You know what? Let's go ahead and switch down to a top-down review from there. So ignore this. This is the Ghost Tech case, and but we're not talking about that. We'll just push that out of the way. It's here, but not what we're talking about. Here's the case that they had listed. Little like magnetic box, which is really cool. The cardboard feels really good on it. And you open it up. This is not an unboxing. This is actually just talking about the product. They talk about all of their stuff, naturally unique. It's made out of wood. Wood has its own unique fingerprints and things to that nature. All kinds of stuff. Floss would say books and shit, flick it to the side or whatever. But they talk about their product, which is cool. It also comes with this very, I don't know what we would call this, like southern, part of, like Latin culture of North America, Mexico, something like that, style looking bag, sort of that design, or maybe even Native American or something, that comes with it. It feels like it's canvas, so it's not soft by any means, but the case came in that. Now let's get into the case itself. So here we have the phone itself, and then we have what it actually looks like. So to actually get a view of this, this is what this thing looks like. It's pretty crazy. You know, if I can figure out how to orient this into the frame, it's very, very pretty. Like I don't know, like this reminds me, not quite Van Gogh-ish, but we've got elements of wood. It looks like there's some pearl effect going on in here. And can we zoom in? Like, is that a thing? Bear with me just a few seconds to see if I can, you know, zoom in on this case. We'll set it right here and see if we can bring some zoom in. But anyway, yeah, like it's got you know, this wood effect to it, this resiny sort of effect. There's pearl in there, so it's definitely looking layered. You'd have to go check it out yourself on carved.com to see what goes into this. But apparently it's real wood, and it goes all the way around the side. The edges are, you know, they're notched in here. They're etched. They feel really good. Like, despite the fact that the case is very smooth, you can actually feel the difference of the texture between this resin and the wood. So that's interesting. But the etching on the side feels really good. There's solid grip to that. So that's kind of cool. But that's kind of the end of where, like I said, the buttons feel really, really nice. Apparently these are machined aluminum. Yeah, no, they're hard. They feel really nice. The grip feels really nice. The phone just feels solid. There's no play to this at all. It's solid. That's the best word that I have for it. It's kind of neat now that I'm actually spending some time looking at it, looking at sort of the depth to it, and there's a little imperfection bubble right there. But anyway, you know, it's really neat looking at it. It's very pretty. But that's, again, where the praise ends. Because the problem that I have with this is that whenever it is that I purchase a protective component for my device, specifically a cell phone, let's talk specifically about cell phones. Whenever it is that I buy a case for it, in 99% of the application, I want that case to protect the phone from my day-to-day use. Some instances, I will buy a less protective case for an application because it looks very pretty. And this obviously looks very subjectively pretty, but in my opinion, it is not very protective. It is absolutely going to protect the, the device from when you set it down on something. It's going to protect it from scratches. It's going to protect the sides from fingerprints. It's going to do that. But the raised edges on this, the raised lip on the top and bottom, because the side is not so. The glass actually sits higher than the side pieces. But the top and the bottom, there's a lip here that sits above the the frame of the device, but by so little that I'm assuming that if you're watching a cell phone accessory review, you've probably heard of Flossie Carter. If you haven't, go check out Flossie Carter. It's exactly as it sounds on YouTube. He talks about it, and he talks about devices having that razivity, as he calls it, around the perimeter of the device, and then it being Slamboy certified. Slamming it down on a surface. This is not Slamboy certified at all. Again, the glass sticks up. It's barely, a little bit there, but the glass sits higher than the side edges of the case. The front, on the top and the bottom, there is some raised edge there, but not by enough that I think would save the device. Further, my biggest problem with this is that whatever this is made out of, the wood, the resin, the pearl effect that's in there, I don't know. You'd have to go take a look at carve.com. But whatever this is made out of is very again, the only adjective that I have for this is solid. It is so solid that I was worried. I was genuinely worried about putting the phone in this case because I thought for sure I was either going to snap I thought I was going to snap the case. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought for sure the case itself was going to snap. If you're, familiar with clear polycarbonate cases for phones, they exist. They're generally cost effective, but that's my way of politely saying cheap. But they don't do a good job of anything other than protecting the device from surface abrasion. But they aren't airproof, if you will. There is a little bit of spacing that happens over time, and so you'll get grains of stuff in there: dirt, lint, dust, hair, whatever. And as it's stuffed between the surface, the back of the case, and the phone, that'll tend to promote scratching. And so this case, being as solid and hard and rigid as it is, this isn't TPU on the side. This thing is like a rock the whole way around. That this is Schrodinger's case. Is it scratched up, with dirt and things in between the case back and the back of the phone? I have no idea, and we won't know until such a time that you remove this case. But this thing fits on there so tightly, I genuinely don't know if I can take this phone out of this case without damaging the phone or the case in the process. No idea. So, upside, it's not going anywhere. Downside is, if you need to take it off for whatever reason, you want to switch a case, you want to whatever, it's not coming off. Like, it's not, there's no way. Maybe it might come off without breaking, but it felt like it was going to break putting it back on. It didn't, to its credit, so I don't know. Again, let's talk about, as I said, the features. We'll go ahead and zoom back out, just to the desk as a whole. Here we've got like an Anker MagSafe charger. It definitely fits on there. We know that it charges. It's not plugged in, so I'm not going to show you, but take my word for it. It charges. We've got like a MagSafe wallet over there. We popped that on. It's not super solid on there, but it holds on. This is definitely not as strong as other MagSafe cases that I've used, but that's hit and miss. I've seen very, very strong gripping MagSafe stuff, and I've seen things that are a little lighter. This one definitely holds on. And it charges. So if you have other pre-existing devices in the Apple ecosystem, this will do a really good job for connecting things. However, I don't think it has any shock protection at all. The whole thing's rigid. There's no soft material. There's literally no soft material on the inside of the case either. Like, so when putting it on, if something gets in there, there's no felt back or anything to pad this. There's literally no padding in this at all. But it's very, very pretty. So going back up to the top, what is it? It's the carved one of one. What do they call it? The live edge case. What does it come with? This little bag. That's what it comes with. It comes in a pretty box. How does it fit? Amazingly, in that it is a nightmare of anxiety putting it on. And I don't know that it'll come off. You've got my personal impressions of it. Final thing to say about this that I said I would talk about in the end. How much is it? This is a $190 case. $190 for a case. I have dropped one of these Ghost Tech cases, and just like people tend to do when they drop a cell phone, I don't know why they try to hacky sack it back to not being dropped, and they bump it with they'll like kick it on the way down. So I dropped this from like chest height because I was stepping out of my car and I had it up while carrying some other stuff. Dropped it, hit the ground, kicked it with my foot under the car into the parking lot. Not this particular phone, but one of these other cases from the exact same family. And it slid under the car. Not a scratch on the phone. They're obviously Slamboy certified. There's a lot of razivity, Flossie. Sorry, thanks for the verbiage. On this device, there's a lot of rays that protects us around the camera. And so I trust this case for impact. I trust this case, the carved case, for just protecting it when setting it down on a surface to not scratch it. But this thing isn't made out of adamantium or anything. So now I'm protecting I don't know how much this phone is. I don't know. First world privilege, I guess. I don't know how much these phones are, but But with that said, I've got a 40-ish, 50, I don't know how much these are. They're 50, 60 bucks or less, something like that. But this, $190. Like, if this, something happens to this case, I'll replace it and go, wow, it saved my phone. For this, I don't know. It's almost, we're going to round up. It's $200. It's $200 for a case. I want to protect what I'm setting, like, I want to protect the case from setting it on stuff. But I don't know. Like, it's going to, I don't know. It's going to get its own patina, not literally by the truest definition of patina, but it's already one of one. It's going to age one of one, through the life cycle of Heidi carrying it around and using it, the way that she personally will use and carry and store her devices. And that's crazy, but it's crazy to me to think that I've got a $200 work of art case that's designed to protect a phone. By taking the scratches itself, it's gonna eat those scratches itself. But that's just about it. I don't know that, I don't know that it's gonna do anything to protect it. I mean, most phones are glass back these days. So this phone, if she drops it, like, the inside could shatter. Who knows? But we won't know because we can't get the case off. The case might break, but I don't know. And that would be a shame because it's a $200 case. On the upside, closing thoughts, final thoughts all around. I would never buy this. I would never buy a $200 case for a... Heidi, how much are these phones? Are they $1,500, something like that?
Yeah.
$1,500. I wouldn't buy a $200 case for a $1,500 phone. I'd buy a $100 or less case. I'm spoiled. Amazon.com. But it's very, very pretty. They offer a 1 year, to the best of my knowledge, like a 1 year warranty. So if you break it, I think they just give you another one, but you won't get this one because this is one of one. You'll have to get a different one. So that's all I have to say about it. We're 22 minutes in. I apologize for the rant. It's a $200 phone case that may or may not protect the phone. If it does protect it from anything, it's going to protect it from scratches. And those scratches are going to scratch the phone. It's the case itself, which is kind of a shame because it's a $200 case. But that's that. Wrap, with that being, what's said about this thing. Heidi, enjoy your $200 case that allows you to protect, I think protect a Samsung phone. I'll stick to my $60 one or $50 one or whatever it is. And I think I'm gonna sleep better knowing that that's what's on my phone instead of a $200 one that I'm throwing to the wolves of my day-to-day life because it just seems like a shame. So again, not bashing on the device. It's just not for me. It might be for you. It is very subjectively pretty. Do what you will with that information.